Hey everybody, welcome back. Another episode here of Banish the Doubt. I am George McNamara. Right here, right behind our forehead, there's a lump. It is called our prefrontal cortex. It's the conscious mind. It's the part of our mind where it holds our wishes, our desires, and our aspirations. So, what would you want to create? What do you want to do with your life? You want to create it, right? So, right here, the conscious mind, okay? But it represents about 10% of our brain. The other 90% of our brain is made up of our subconscious. This is very important to understand this, okay? So, my notes are over here, but it's hard for you guys to see them, so I'm just going to flip them through here as I walk through this episode, this video. So now, the subconscious mind, this 90% of our brain, is made up primarily of our habits. Okay, so we have 10% here, so wishes, desires, and aspirations, but the rest of the 90% is our habits. And the fundamental habit, okay, didn't come from you or I. Okay, so the fundamental habit within that makes up 90% of our brain didn't come from us. Okay. During the first 7 years, even prior to us being born, our brains are in primarily a hypnotic state. So we're basically in hypnosis. So if you know about hypnosis is, well, somebody else says something, they command us to do things, so we just sort of follow along. We have no control over their commands. So in third trimester is when our brains turn on. Okay. So programs. So how do we learn? Just think about this. How would you learn to become a member of a family? How did you learn to become a member of a culture, of a community? How did you get enculturated? Through these first 7 years, through these programs. Again, 90% of our brain is made up of the subconscious mind. First 7 years of our life is where we're in a hypnotic state. So all this is downloaded into us. The programs, again, are not ours. Okay? What you did was we watched other people for these first 7 years. We watched our parents, we watched our family, we watched the broader family that made up our extended family, school, teachers, religious institutions, TV, right? TV what? Programming. So all of this, we were in a hypnotic state. People saw us walking around, interacting with society, interacting with the family. But all this time, we were being programmed how to walk through the rest of our life, all through these first 7 years of our existence here on this earth. But it's not just the family, just not just that generation. These programs were passed on down from the generation before that. These programs were passed on down from the generation before that, and the generation before that, and the generation before that. I can keep going, and the generation before that, and the generation before that. and see what I'm saying? So these programs on how we live our life, it just keeps transfer, hypnotic state after hypnotic state after hypnotic state. This is why you can look back, and if you knew your grandparents, you can tell which parent of your parents was just like your grandparents. Your mom was just like your grandmother. Your father was just like your grandmother, or your father was just like your grandfather. I know in my case, my father was much like my grandmother, I was told. I didn't know them. My mother was very much like my grandmother. Notice what I'm saying? Okay, so science has established that 95% of our life, we are thinking. 95% of your waking day, you're thinking. And when we're thinking, we're not conscious. That's a huge statement. I want to say it again. Now, science has determined that 95% of our waking day, we're thinking. But when we're thinking, we're not conscious. Thinking are those subconscious programs. We're not paying attention, right? If we're in our mind, if we're thinking, we're not present, we're not paying attention. So then what's going on? So when the conscious mind is not paying attention, right, the subconscious is the default. When the conscious mind is not paying attention, the subconscious, what we just established, is the default. If understood, then only 5% of the time we're running our life with our creative mind, with those wishes, desires, and aspirations. But it's only 5% of the time. The other 95% operating off of those programs. This is huge, huge information for you to really understand and grasp this. So anytime you feel stuck, anytime you feel like things aren't working out, anytime you think like, why does this keep happening to me? Go back to those programs. How were you programmed? Because if you're thinking that, you're in those programs. You see? So 95% of your life is coming from the programs, not your wishes, desires, but other people's desires and wishes, because they programmed you. They didn't even realize they were doing it. So 95% of your day is programs that are limiting and self-sabotaging. Every day we play programs that we don't even see, and they're not ours. But all we do see are the results. This is why someone can tell you 30 years later, 40 years later, whatever it may be, somebody who knows you and your parents, hey, you're just like you are, fill in the blank. And for the most part, when we're told that, right, if they're based off of limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging, we're going to what? Repel. We're going to say, I'm not, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not like him or her. Why? Because we're operating off of those programs, those behaviors. And like I said, we don't even see it. And then we end up saying things like, this is not what I wanted. And the world says, yeah, but this is what you created. Okay? Now, in order to break free from this, if about 9 minutes into this, this is resonating with you, and you want to break free from this, you want to change this, go to my channel, click on the link, Coach Geo. and let's work on techniques and different um, ways of breaking free. I will tell you, others who have gone down this road have said they feel so much different in their life. Their life feels so much better, so much lighter. They can see and think clearer now. If this is what you're looking for, click on that link and I'd be happy to work with you. Have a great day.